Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing some adult colouring again, but I'm going to be doing a story time on a ghost hunt that I've been on. I'll be talking about the history of the building and what we've experienced there. So if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel, and if you like my video, please hit the like button. As always, if you have any ideas or feedback, please pop it down in the comments below. So let's get on into it. So we went to the Victorian Courts of Justice over in West Bromwich with Dusk Till Dawn events. I'll pop a link to their site down below in the descriptions because they do loads more events as well. We have been with them before. So this building is known as the Victorian Courts of Justice, but it was formerly the West Bromwich Magistrates Law Courts. It's a 17th century building, and it was built purely to punish and condemn people, as it was built as a jail initially. With punishment of that time being so brutal, as I'm sure you can imagine, you can only imagine the torment that has gone on there over the centuries. But it was later modernised in the 1890s by the Victorians, and the courts were then added. In particular, the large main courthouse that is very dark and eerie, if I do have to say. That's one of the rooms that we did one of our vigils in. After this remodel, the punishments were no different, but at least people were tried before being judged for their crimes. The courtroom and jail have housed some of the most dangerous prisoners in society during its lifetime, some of it which will have escaped with a short prison sentence, but many would meet their death at the gallows. For some people who don't know what that is, it's basically where they would be hanged. The way the building feels when you walk in makes you believe it is haunted, but not in a good way, I don't think. Apparently people who have worked there, like janitors for example, have said to have a deep sense of panic when being in there and having the feeling of wanting to escape. Perhaps this is us picking up on the feelings of former prisoners there, or perhaps the treatment that the guards used to give the prisoners in the past centuries. When you see the building, it doesn't look that big on the outside. Well, it isn't as big as some of the locations that we've been to, but you walk in as well and it looks tiny when you first walk into the atrium, but you get past the main entrance and it's huge. The building is 17,000 square feet of cells, corridors, safe rooms and wooden courtrooms, and a lot of that is fenced off due to the age of the building. Because a lot of it is in a derelict state, so like the ceilings and the flooring is weak, so they have to section those bits off for health and safety reasons. But as you're walking between the cells to the courtroom, you can just imagine how the prisoners must have felt being in there. And I actually didn't know until my research that in the main courthouse that we went into when we were there, the glass box in the middle of the room, apparently it's bulletproof. This just shows you what kind of people they will have housed in this building in the most recent years. What I find strange though is in my research you can't access any of the files on the location. And there are hundreds of files hidden away about this location that are secreted away, even though this is a public building. Again, this makes me think what could have been happening here, especially in that era. We know back then there was no limit on how far people would go to punish prisoners. So I think that there are some records showing deaths of suspicious means and sinister activity, possibly. However, the location does give away stories when you are there. For example, when we were there, we sensed the presence of a child in the courtroom, which is really strange because later when I was doing my research, it turns out that the courtroom would house trials for matters relating to children, such as maintenance payments and adoptions and placement of children into care, and they would also until 1908 try children in the adult court and would receive a prison sentence. Can you imagine that, being a young child and being tried in an adult court and getting a prison sentence? That's scary. As I stated previously as well, they later turned the court into a magistrates' court. It would only cover West Bromwich up until about 1966, and then it would cover Tipton and Wednesbury as well after that. So you can imagine how many more dangerous criminals would have been housed there. And it is said that the cells would have had up to 5 people per cell. Now, I'm going to get on to what we thought of the building when we went there, and what we experienced. So I usually go on the ghost hunts with 2 of my friends, Ellie and Rennie. They're my little spirit hunting crew. So first, although it's labelled a ghost hunt on the website, we don't hunt ghosts. There are 2 different paranormal entities that you look for in a building. You have ghosts, who are usually apparitions that you see moving about the building, so they cannot interact with you, as ghosts will just go about the building as if they were living, they were alive. That's why you will sometimes see apparitions go through walls, because it may have been that there was a door there at some point when they were alive. And a spirit is what we can interact with. A spirit doesn't usually present itself as a human form. You will usually see orbs, and they're the ones that communicate with you through things like EMF readers, spirit boxes, Ouija boards, etc. So first thing is that we didn't see any ghosts. Well, I didn't. We didn't see any physical apparitions. Yeah, we didn't see anything, but I do have to say that there was quite a bit of spirit activity. There wasn't as much as our last ghost hunt, I don't think, but there was definitely a lot of activity. First of all, they had an EMF Teddy Bear. It lights up in the same way as a normal EMF, so it'll go green, orange, and then red. This was actually a very popular instrument during the night. The spirits really liked interacting with this. We would place the teddy down and ask yes or no questions, and it was happy to communicate through the EMF bear. It seemed, however, that the spirits, wherever we went in the building, had a fondness of my friend Ellie. Both in the courtroom and near the cells, it responded quite well to Ellie through the EMF. Me and the girls, we don't really do the Ouija boards. There's just something about them that give me the heebie-jeebies. So we don't really use them when we go on our ghost hunts. So we haven't really got much to show from that side of things. But there was definitely a lot of activity through the EMF readers. When you go on these sort of ghost hunts with these organisations, we've been with 2 so far, and both of them have done it the same way, structured it the same way throughout the night. You get to go on different vigils throughout the night. So you will usually go as a whole group to start with, because what they'll do is they'll do a protection chant at the beginning of the night as a whole group, and then you'll be shown around the building, and you'll do a call out to the spirits as a whole group. Then you'll get split up and go off into either 2 or 3 different groups. So the first time we went into the courtroom, as I said earlier, there was a slight vibe that there was a child in there. We were stood in the middle of the room, getting the spirit to communicate with us, and it was happy, tapping away, but we noticed it was coming from the corner. But we put one of those little cat balls, like the ones that I've described previously in another video. We put one of those little cat balls in the corner where we could hear it, but it didn't want to touch the light that we'd put there. We got the feeling that this was because the child was scared, maybe because of the judge. Maybe the judge was there, which later on, sort of 10, maybe 15 minutes later, we were communicating and we got the feeling that the spirit had switched, like we were talking to someone else. And this was sort of a worse vibe. It was like a negative vibe. So we do think that the judge was in there as well. Apparently when the second group went in there though, the ball would go off and flash in the corner, and then when somebody would go over to the corner it would stop. So I very much think that there was maybe a child hiding in that corner or something that was scared. In the second vigil that we went on, we went down into the cells, and we called out to the spirits. Again, they had a strange liking and were drawn towards Ellie and got a lot of activity through the bear. I personally didn't like sort of down there near the jail cells because I was stood in the corridor where the cells are lined up, and it felt like someone was tugging on my backpack that I had on my back, and so did the guy that was running the vigil. He felt it as well. We went into the cells though, and it was weird. There was no activity there at all. Then at the end of the night you sort of get to go round on your own. We managed to find a cellar, so we went down there with the EMF bear and a normal EMF reader. I mean, we made sure that we stood back as to not to interfere with them. As some people will know, electronics like phones and watches can interfere with EMFs. So yeah, we stood back from them once we'd put them down, and we immediately got a response. They were both lighting up orange. It was green to start with, but then sort of it started getting worse. We asked the spirit to stop flashing it, and it stopped. Then we asked the spirit if it wanted us to leave, and immediately they both started flashing red. So that's as high as they go. So we just got some bad vibes from down there. Honestly, it was very creepy. We got some very bad vibes. Yeah, we didn't get a kind energy. We didn't get this kind of energy from anywhere else in the building. So we immediately left. Whatever was down there was not very nice, I don't think, and not very friendly. So yeah, that was the end of the night. We sit around and we discuss what's happened. That's sort of how you end the night. You go round on your own and then you sort of discuss what you found on your vigils and on your own, and then you do a close down as well so that you don't take any of the negative spirits with you. And that's it for my story time on our little ghost hunt. I think it would definitely be a good one for a first time hunt, but personally it wasn't the best one we've been on. I still think the last one that we went on was probably the best one, but we do really want to do 30 East Drive and Newsham Asylum because they're supposed to be like the most active, two of the most haunted locations in the UK. So defo those two. Apparently Newsham gets a lot of activity, and 30 East Drive is home to a poltergeist as well. So hopefully if we manage to go there we can get a lot of activity. Anyway, I hope you liked my video. If so, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And always let me know if there's anything new that you would like me to do down in the comments. Okay, bye.